And like I feel like the graphics that they've had for this whole all of these years, they've been pretty good. I don't know why they're
Mhm.
changing it now. The purple is like a little hint. It's like a hint of purple.
Oh yeah, and it's also like
It's like
fucking
a
paper
little.
thin. Like what the fuck? Like like show the goddamn thing. It's an easy. It's a good way to tell what's happening. You know, like why don't make
they
it. I'm like trying to be like the fucking a. But whew, all right. So hello, welcome back to Formula Juan. I mean, how's it going? How you been? It's
It
been a
is
long time.
I. It is I, Juan's brother,
I,
and the titular Juan.
and the one and only. um, oh man, yeah. I guess it's been a few months since our last rant. And I think new season, new feelings. How do you feel about the ending of our previous episode or of the previous season?
I'm not very happy. You move on,
Yeah.
but very
Yeah.
disappointed. I try to pretend that like it didn't happen.
Yeah. You
Like
learn
it
to
doesn't really count.
exist.
Like when you play a game and you're like, okay, that was a test run, you know.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
unfortunate because like the last season was really good all the way throughout,
Hmm.
and then the last race just
Yeah.
and there were a
It kind
couple
of
of
ruined
races that
everything.
kind of soured everything. So
It,
I'm
it,
not
got-
really
it
happy with all the changes, but
Honestly, I think about that season. I think about specifically like the last maybe like 6, 7 races. I was just I guess I was just like fully focused on Formula One all throughout that period, and I was like, this is really intense. This is actually getting to be a very very intense battle, like to the likes that I never thought I was gonna see in my lifetime.
yeah,
Where it's like the perfect amount of elements of like they're head to head. One is better, but the other one's on a better team, but the other one now is in a faster track, and like it just kept building to the point that we're dead even on the last race, dead even.
yeah. Even though I feel like that was also a little bit fabricated, but yeah,
It's like a touch. Like yeah, there were moments in the season that like weren't like perfect, but like it turned out to be like on its own. It sort of fell in place, you know.
mhm.
So and then to finish it like that with like a very disappointing ending. Not even it's not even disappointment. It's just it was disgusting. It was like the one of the worst things that I've ever seen in any sport where I
Yeah.
felt like just like an injustice was made. Um, so anyways, not to touch too much on that. It's still the wound is still fresh in my opinion, but
Oh
you
yeah, it's
know.
still very fresh. I like a lot of the changes that have occurred, which
Mhm.
we can talk a little bit about them. But we're gonna talk about the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Oh yeah, oh baby, the beginning of the season. What a start. I kind of liked it.
Yeah, so we can just start if you want, just strictly talking about the race, or I don't know if you want to talk about the weekend overall from the beginning of the weekend or
Yeah,
testing. We didn't even do a podcast about testing. Maybe we
yeah.
can do one later on. Maybe we should just talk about the race.
I mean, no, I think we can start from the beginning. I think from testing. I think I started getting like the feeling of Formula One back into my soul. I was like, okay, I'm slowly gonna go back to consuming content to the point that now I'm like, okay, I'm again active, and like it feels good. It feels good to be back. Low amounts of excitement for now. I mean, I'm a big fan of Leclerc. I've
Yeah, I think
always
we're all very big fans of Leclerc.
yeah, I mean he's been like the guy that I'm like this guy's gonna be the world champion as soon as he joined, and
Yeah,
I sort of been like
since
this is my guy.
since he was
Yeah.
in Alfa Romeo,
Mhm.
like he was just like really good all the way throughout. He makes mistakes every now and then, but
Mhm.
he just like feels like that's the guy I most empathize with.
Yeah, he reminds me of like Goku from Dragon Ball. It's just a nice guy. He's just a simple guy, trying to drive good. He's very clean, and I really like his attitude. I think he's just very naturally talented at driving. So
Yeah,
that's why I like him. He's I don't know. He looks like a Gentile soul.
yeah, he's proved himself too. So
Yeah.
I think we all know that he's really fast and then he has the
Hmm.
potential to be world champion.
Yeah.
So maybe this is the year. Time is coming where like he can probably show that up.
Oh yeah, yeah, and he's in the So I say that because I feel like there's a league of like drivers that are all like on that same category of like they could be legends if they have the right car and the right circumstances. Lando Norris, George Russell, Verstappen, and I believe even Albano. I think that they all have that like
Albon.
yeah, that they all have like that characteristic that they could be world champions if they were in the right car. So you know, I choose to vote for Leclerc out of all of those. I mean Verstappen already won, but like you know, as we move on, like I think Leclerc could be a world champion from the current pool.
I'm okay if Verstappen would have won it, just as long as it didn't happen the way it
So
happened.
yeah,
Yeah.
as long as it was fair, I also wanted that.
Like, but yeah, I
Um,
think Verstappen definitely. I feel like he would have gotten a world championship if it wasn't last year,
oh
the
yeah,
years to come.
yeah, the guy's talented, and so it started with that in training immediately. I feel like the Red Bulls were a little slow to start with. The first few trials, Ferrari dominated.
Yeah, we saw like the issue with the, I don't know how you say, porpoising, porpoise.
The porpoising,
Yeah, I don't
something
know.
like that.
Look, it's not our language. I
Yeah,
already have issues like
pronouncing
pronunciating,
pronouncing things. Yeah,
pronouncing, purposing. So now if you are an extra I, purpoising, pur,
porpoising.
porpoising,
I don't know. I actually,
porpoise.
I when I say it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's how it is, and it's like, oh, or is it? I don't know.
um, but with that being said, we can just go now directly into the race.
Mhm.
Um, and we're gonna talk about not the weekend, not the qualifying, although the qualifying was incredible. I
Yeah,
don't know, what was I gonna say? Qualifying incredible. Kevin Magnussen just
yeah,
showing up.
my boy. Yeah,
Yeah, actually, like I know Hulkenberg came back, and you feel like these guys are really good, but Kevin Magnussen, like, just
he came back. Like
yeah, he came back.
I, f- I felt when he left. I mean, I was a big fan of Magnussen. I've always been. I always said like he
Yes,
he's good.
you've
He's
always
he's
been
actually
like,
good.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think he's really good. I just think he's a little dirty, but I think
I
he's really fast and really
think he's
good.
like he's very aggressive. And dirty, I think he's Verstappen's dirty.
Yeah,
My
I think Kevin Magnussen is like Verstappen level at times.
I think I don't know. I feel like sometimes he's just at the wrong place doing very aggressive things. But yes, I agree that he has a bad reputation. But then he came back, and
Oh,
now
but
like
he's really fast. So
yeah, yes,
like he doesn't. I don't think he has many sponsors behind him,
hmm
or like he's not like the most famous guy in Formula One.
hmm
He's just like a really fast guy, really aggressive.
yeah,
But yeah, I think he's a really good driver. And when he left, and
hmm
I'm like, oh, and then they brought Schumacher and Mazepin,
and
and I'm
that's the
like,
thing.
it's a shame because
Yeah,
Magnussen is better than those both of those guys,
hmm
and the only reason he's not there is because of money reasons, not because
yeah,
of talent.
exactly. No, yeah, exactly. It was kind of sad to see him, especially because he's still young. I think he's like 28 or 29, which is still very drivable. Like you still
Yeah,
have a
he
lot
still has
of
another 8 to 10 years still
right
left. I
to
mean, if
to
you're Kimi Räikkönen, like maybe 12, 15
maybe
years.
more, but you really have to have talent. Like you have to be like one of the good ones. Which I think it could be. I think it could be if we see how he does this season,
Yeah.
next season. Hopefully there's a next season. So yeah, I mean, so far very good. All smiles. I was honestly, I was very happy to see him back in the garage. Saying hi to all of the
Yeah.
mechanics and everything. He really looks like he's back from the dead. Like he's just so happy to be there. And I think
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something nice about that. You really see the enjoyment of this sport in him, and I think that's why a lot of
Yeah,
people
it's
like that
always nice
story.
to see like a story of like this guy
Mhm.
deserved to be here,
Yeah,
and we're all very happy that he's back.
yeah.
Um, so now let's talk about not just Kevin Magnussen. I think he's just the highlight of the qualifying. I know that Charles Leclerc got like pole and etc. But now let's dive into the race for real seas this time. So
Okay.
first thing that we're gonna talk about is the topic of the day, and I'll just throw topics at you and then like hear what you have to say on those.
Okay.
Um, we have the rule changes that now you don't have to start the race on the tires that you qualify on.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that? That's like the first thing. Only I think McLaren were the ones that started on different tires.
I'm conflicted on one aspect. I'm like, I like the rule because it sort of made the strategy for qualifying more interesting, and they had to like sort of figure out like if you wanted to be in a different strategy, you had to be really fast. And I think I always thought that was kind of interesting because it had a little bit of drama. That being said, I think the claim that like it's more for the places from 6 to 10, it makes more sense to me because yeah, if you qualify on like a set of softs, but the better tire is the medium for the race, you are putting the people that went faster at a disadvantage. Especially like at the start and stuff, where like they start just losing places and then they have to pit immediately. So I think it does make the racing a little bit more fair, even though the strategy suffers a little bit. I think it does make sense, and you can still be pretty strategic on
Yeah,
your
you can
Sunday
you can be
choice.
strategic, but yeah, I think the issue is that once the teams figure out what the best tire is to start a race with,
Hmm.
I feel like all the teams are just gonna start the race with the same
Hmm.
tire.
Yeah,
Like
it's
I
possible.
I know that you see. I think McLaren were the only ones that went on a different tire, and but McLaren just sucked all weekend long, and then the
Hmm.
the tire choice also didn't make it any better for them.
Yeah,
Um, but everybody just started on softs, so you just know like, oh, everybody's just gonna go the same strategy.
it
Uh,
could be,
so I
yes.
mean that obviously that didn't happen for this weekend. There were like three pit stops, so
Hmm.
that's
Yeah,
new.
yeah.
But it's because it's new. But I think as
Everybody's
teams
trying to
figure it
understand. Yeah.
out, I think it'll probably be a little bit monotone. Um, so
See, I don't know. I feel like yes, but not necessarily in a bad way. Like, okay, yeah, so people start with the same tires, but in the occasions in which people don't, it's gonna be pretty interesting. It's gonna be like, oh, okay, now it's gonna be a cool, interesting race. You
yes,
also open up for a lot of different strategy races where like you maybe depending on the positioning on the track, you might want to pit a guy with like the mediums and the other one with the hearts and see what strategy works best for the team. So I think you put teams in like equal leveling at the beginning, which is fine, and then you let them sort of run crazy with the strategy from
yeah.
there. So
So
overall, I'm not upset. I kind of like the way things were before, but I'm not 100% opposed to this. So
okay.
yeah.
So once the race started, there wasn't like much craziness. I mean, we did
Yeah.
see Kevin Magnussen racing Hamilton in turn four, which was like exciting.
I was like, he's keeping up with the Mercs. He's keeping up with the Mercs. And then
Yeah.
like two turns or like two laps later,
Laps.
he's like just getting he
Yeah.
well he also outbraked himself a couple of points, which was a little
Oh
bizarre.
yeah. He
Yeah.
just like was I don't
Uh,
know,
Trying to
locked
understand the
up.
car maybe like with a lot of fuel, different fuel
Oh
levels.
yeah,
So
that's what I was saying as
mhm,
well. I think it's like you are full of fuel, and then you
mhm.
like the balance of the car is a little bit different.
Yeah, and the
Uh,
hasses are not the most reliable, like feeling wise. So maybe
yeah.
it's just a little odd, but it was all good. I mean, it didn't happen more than like those 2 times that he was being followed. So
Yeah, the other one that I thought was weird is Valtteri Bottas, which like
oh, he
qualified six, and then all of a sudden, oh, he's 14th or 13, and I'm like,
lost a
what
bunch of
happened to
positions. Yeah,
Bottas? Just had a horrible start, but I think that was the only
yeah.
thing that really happened at the start. Also, Ocon crashing into
Into
Schumacher.
Schumacher, yeah, which I was like, I think that should be a penalty. I mean, it's a 5 second penalty, easy.
Yeah,
The guy was never anywhere near uh, being past him, and he just like literally like went on the inside where there was no room. So,
yeah,
yeah, it wasn't even close. I
he did
think
get a penalty, so
yes, yeah, and I think it would have been more had like Schumacher actually lost like a bunch of like he would have been in the back of the grid. I think it might have even been 10 seconds, but it seemed that he just flipped him around and then Schumacher kept going. It was fine. I thought
yeah.
five
I
seconds.
thought that like after that, like the whole race started, and you're like, okay, who's gonna be competing? Like, what are they? Like the positions we're fighting for. And obviously it
Yeah,
became clear that Leclerc and Verstappen were like on a league of their own. I was
yeah.
kind of hoping that Hamilton could keep up with like the top four, like
Mhm.
Perez, Sainz, like, and then Hamilton would be involved. But like then you could clearly see that the Mercedes weren't able to keep up like with the
Yeah.
top four.
Yeah, it's
Um,
unfortunate, but they do seem to have like legitimate struggles. It's not that like Hamilton has sandbags on
yeah.
on his car. They're not troubles. They're just like really like trying to understand the car still, trying to figure out what the fuck is causing the bouncing up and down. Because
Yeah.
it makes it really hard to drive when you're like fucking bouncing as you brake. Like,
Yeah, I think like a way that they saw it, I don't know, there's like people that taken pictures and like analyzed it. You can see that the Mercedes height, like to the floor, is just
mhm.
much bigger than like from Red Bull and Mercedes,
Yeah,
Red Bull and Ferrari. Um, so yeah, it just seems like the only way that they have managed to not bounce as much is by raising the ride height, which
yeah,
obviously makes you lose
a little bit
speed.
of speed. Yeah.
So but yeah, they have to figure that out. I feel like if they solve that issue, like they could be up there in contention. And then
Yeah.
like another thing that I wanted to talk about, after the race just kept going, and the next point of conversation is Hamilton pitting. I think he was like the first car to pit.
All the hearts.
uh
Yeah.
yeah, and then he went on the hard tires.
Mhm.
uh Now the point that I wanted to talk about is like him coming out of the pits. Like it was like he was driving on fucking ice.
Oh yeah,
Like
he started like sliding all over. He
he like couldn't manage the car.
yeah, it looked, I think it looked like the tires just were not warm at all. He was, he lost so much time doing that that I was like damn, like
Yeah,
it's
so
not
like
worth it just because of that.
that's a new change. I don't know if you knew, or like they said it in the commentary
Yeah, the
that
blankets or
the
something.
blankets are now 10 degrees colder than they were last year. I
Mm,
think last year were like 80 degrees. I think that's Fahrenheit.
okay.
Now that, or I don't know if it's Celsius. I doubt it. Celsius, you would melt. I don't know.
It actually could be. I don't know. They get pretty warm, but
and
I don't know.
then now there's 70 degrees, so they went down to like 10 degrees overall. And I think like they
Okay.
said that now Formula One is trying to move on to having no blankets at all,
Huh.
eventually in the future.
Yeah.
So the tires being 10 degrees colder, like you can see the difference. um,
I don't know. I don't know if I like that so much. I don't know if I like that
yeah,
change.
I think that change kind of messes up with like the undercut and the overcut,
Yeah.
because now undercutting is not as viable. If you pit first but your tires are going to be just way colder when you come out,
Yeah.
like you're going to be overcut like later
Mhm.
on. Like the person that actually saved their tires and stayed out longer, like reap the benefits.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I guess there's an argument to make that like when that person goes into the pits, they come out again, and they're probably gonna be sliding for a little bit, but you lost track position, which is kind of the important part because now you have to pass them again. So it's like, and if they manage to activate the tires, I don't know. I guess at the end of the
I
day,
mean,
it's fair.
if
I just don't like it. I just don't like
yeah,
what.
if Formula One was easy to pass, then sure, it's fine. But it's
Yeah.
not.
But it's not, and it's not a guaranteed. Plus it's not good if you go into the pit and then you come out behind the person that you went in the pits. It could mess up, like safety cars could mess everything up, or I don't know, somebody coming behind you like a slower
Yeah,
car could mess a lot of things up. So it's not good in that sense that you come
yeah.
out
That
behind the guy you were
it's
ahead of.
usually, this is like an issue when, so like in IndyCar, or when Montoya was in Formula Car,
Hmm.
the overcut is just better
Yeah.
in those scenarios, because the tires are not warm when you put them like on IndyCar and stuff. So when
Hmm.
you come out, the car is slower, and then the person that actually saved on their tires gets to make up time. And then if you went onto the pits earlier, it's bad for you.
Yeah.
So I think like that's kind of what we're seeing also here in like
Mhm.
Formula One. So I don't like it that much. I think it takes away some of the strategy that you can be undercut or overcut.
Yeah.
um, it feels like if you're gonna like decrease the tire temperature, you're kind of locking the teams into like, if you pit first, you're being punished.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah,
So
not a fan.
we'll see if like
Hopefully they don't keep
anything
that.
changes, but that those are like the first initial thoughts about
It's
that.
just, I mean, he was sliding a lot, like to the point where
Yep.
like he couldn't even brake on time. Like that's, it could be,
Like he lost
it
the
could even be
position
dangerous.
to the Alpha, to
Yeah.
Joe.
Hmm. So it could even be dangerous too. I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but
Yeah, like you will no longer have like those exciting moments, like, oh, they come out and they're like fighting,
and they're
and then
like
they get to
fighting
fight.
immediately
No,
ahead.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, the guy that came
yeah.
out, it's gonna be, I don't know, it's a hazard.
Kind of, yeah, and like more of an obstacle than anything.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna be so vulnerable. So yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So that's like the other thing. That the next thing then we saw is Verstappen went onto the pits to try, like, they were fighting with Leclerc, and then you saw that Leclerc had a 3 second gap, like later, like in the race, like in the like 6 or so laps after Hamilton pitted or so. We were getting to like lap 20 or so.
Yeah.
And then Verstappen pitted trying to undercut Leclerc.
Mhm.
And it kind of worked. Like, he made up the gap. But so my point, and that the topic I'm going to throw at you is, like, Verstappen said that when he came out, that the team didn't let him fully push,
Yeah,
and
I
that if
mean,
they would have let him, he would have been able to pass Leclerc and like
mhm.
get the lead of the race.
Right, and I think I think that's kind of silly because I think he knows as well as the engineers know, because I think of the new tires, if you go faster than you're supposed to, they degrade really quick on the first lap. So you have to be careful in the first lap, and then you can push after, like this. They really get warm. Because if you start going fast while they're cold, then as far as I understand,
Yeah,
then
you
that
get, I
degrades
think,
them
graining.
faster.
Yeah.
Right.
Is it graining or blistering? One of the two.
I think it's graining. Graining is when you like start losing like little crumbs.
Yeah.
Blistering is when it's too hot and like it like starts bloating,
Like, yeah, boiling.
bubbling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So no, yeah. I don't think there's anything else the engineers could have said. I mean, I think Verstappen, to me, in the entire race, he sounded like angrier than he should have been. I mean, he's the first race.
He was angry.
It's
Especially at the end when his car broke down, but I would have been angry too.
I mean, I would have been angry, but like he was, I don't know, he was like too angry, in my opinion. Where I was like, you're like yelling at your guys, but like your guys can't solve what it is. I mean, it's not necessarily their fault, but you're just like yelling at them. Like you're not helping the situation. Like you need to step a little bit cool. Tell them like, no, this is not working, but like stay cool. I mean, I don't like when drivers like scream at
Like,
at their
yeah,
engineers. Yeah.
that's why, like, you lost some respect to you for Yuki Tsunoda last year.
Yeah, because the guy I mean, I think some engineers kind of understand that that's just the style of the driver, but I also think it's pretty disrespectful. And like that's why I think Yuki is like this the privileged like little rich kid that like yells at his fucking his parents and like I like
have
his
you,
engineers.
have you
Yeah.
seen, like, there's an interview of all the drivers, and they ask them, hey, like, what's your dream? And then, like, there's like, oh, be Formula One world champion. And there's like Charles Leclerc world champion, Carlos Sainz world champion, Perez world champion, and everybody, they just go down the list. And then they ask Yuki, what's your dream? And then he's like, I want to own a restaurant.
Was it like a sushi restaurant or was it just like a restaurant?
He just said he just wants to own a
A
restaurant.
restaurant. Yeah, he likes eating. He does like eating a lot. Every time like he like or like in a lot of interviews he's always talking about food and like how he like has a personal cook and like how like he likes the way like some people cook their food and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. It's pretty funny.
The guy's
I kind
just
of
racing in Formula One. It's like, my dream is to own a restaurant.
yeah, I kind of like that about him. There's an authenticity to him. So yeah, it bugs me, but not that much.
Yeah. So we can see, like, even though Verstappen said, like, hey, I could have fucking passed Leclerc if they would have let me push.
Yeah.
It's like, I think it's kind of silly. Maybe if he would have pushed and sure, you're good, like Leclerc would have then overtaken him later on.
You're right.
Like,
Yeah.
Verstappen tires would have been gone.
Mhm.
Leclerc would have still passed him. Like, I don't know, unless Verstappen does some like crazy maneuver.
Some crazy shit, some crazy Verstappen shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that. I think that's kind of silly that Verstappen argued that. Like, I think it would have been better if he would have said, like, oh yeah, I could have pushed harder, but Leclerc would have overtaken me anyway. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt like kind of like an excuse. But,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, Red Bull does a lot of that of politicizing to look better.
yeah.
But yeah, I think realistically speaking, it didn't look like Verstappen was faster than Leclerc. Leclerc was just always getting
Yeah.
a little bit further ahead.
And then after that, we came into the most exciting moment of the race for the lead of the race, and like what we've been wanting to fucking watch
Hmm.
for a long time is Verstappen versus Leclerc.
Yep.
And it finally ended up happening. Verstappen warmed up his tires,
Hmm.
was behind Leclerc, like getting within the 1 second, got DRS. He was like 9 tenths behind, and then in like one single straight line, just like overtook Leclerc. That's crazy.
I think he used like, well, I don't know if you saw his battery power, but he definitely used the overtake button for that first maneuver, because like
He
he
came
went
from
so
so far
fast.
back. Yeah.
Yes, it's just like boom. I was like, oh my god, that guy he wants track position for some crazy
Yeah.
reason. But like, I think
Verstappen always prefers track position. Like
yes,
that, he prioritizes that over anything else.
I think so too. Yeah. So he really wanted it that time, and like I think he used a lot of it, and then he didn't have enough at the end to like defend against the second DRS zone.
Yeah,
Uh,
Leclerc did say that he was saving his battery
for that.
for that specific thing. Like
Yeah.
he knew that Verstappen was gonna pass him there, and
Hmm.
so he was gonna save the battery for like the next part.
Yes,
Um,
which is risky because you never know. So you're letting the other guy pass, but you like have to overtake him. So it's a risky maneuver, but
yeah,
like I guess Leclerc was confident that I think like he could pull that off, and like he was actually able to pass him.
yeah,
It's never
and
guaranteed that you're gonna be able to.
yes, and it's always like it's really exciting because like these guys are okay. So
Hmm.
first of all, like for me in context is like the cars are heavier, therefore like harder to control or like to
Yeah,
be what is it like
maneuver,
maneuver to have like a lot of like, oh, I'm gonna be super
nimbleness.
delicate here, yeah, super
Yeah.
nimble in this corner. um so like when they move and I think Leclerc like move a little bit under braking, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah,
Are
yeah.
they gonna go off? Are they gonna crash? You never know. It's always
Uh,
so exciting.
and then you see him cross, and like they like go this close to each other, and you're like,
Yeah.
holy shit! Like I think like Verstappen like very close to like Leclerc's tire, and like if they touch, then like either he's breaking his nose, or he's creating a or he's poaching like Leclerc's tire. Like it's
Yeah,
one of the
like
two,
point
you know,
what is it, puncture?
puncturing. Yes. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's pretty good. It's pretty fun.
we had that for like 3 laps. It was very exciting, and it was just the same thing every time. I think
Hmm.
uh, if Verstappen wouldn't have been told to back off because his
He was
brakes were
using,
overheating,
yeah.
then like I don't know, then it would have kept going for a
It
little bit
would have kept
longer.
going.
Yeah,
Yeah. But I think that's how it should be. I think because I feel like having that happen every single lap, I think for the viewers, it's not like the I mean like it's cool when you think about it, like, oh, imagine it going, but like after a while then you become desensitized of it, and it's not as fun. If it happens just in a few laps, and like they have to cool down for a little bit, it's like, it's that's pretty cool.
yeah,
That's
and then like, oh,
you
and then
look
they're going
forward.
back.
Yes, you look forward to those moments. And they really matter, because indeed you can't be doing that forever. You have to decide your moments, and
Yeah.
then try to strategize after you make the move, right?
Yeah, I think
So
it
yeah.
does play like that. Verstappen likes track position. Just talking a little bit about that is like in the before the new regulations. I mean, it would make sense because following is not as easy. But with the cars now, I
Mhm.
think like favoring track position, even though that's something that Verstappen still wants. Maybe this is just like me. I don't know. What do you say? It's a
Rambling.
hypothetical, yeah.
Oh.
But like
Sure.
hypothetical, like assuming that the new regulations are actually better and that they work. Maybe
Mhm.
track position in this case is not like
The
it.
greatest,
Well, maybe still really good, but not as good as it was like in the
as he was
previous years.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Like in the Montoya years, if you would have, you would have taken position every time, pretty much.
Oh yeah.
Or like, because it's like it was so difficult to pass. There was no DRS. You literally had to like try to be in the fucking back, and like
Mhm.
hope that they made a mistake, and then
Yeah.
maybe you could like outbreak them. But now nowadays it's like the passing is feels more fair, more balanced. So
Yeah. Then for a little bit there, nothing really happened in the race. It was just
mhm.
like kind of like, okay, it looks like Leclerc's gonna win.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like a boring ending.
You were
Uh,
just hoping that like nothing, like didn't explode or anything like
yes,
that.
I'm like, I hope nothing happens. And then Verstappen like pitted. Well, they pitted again, and then Verstappen pitted a third time, and then they were gonna pull the whole. We're gonna pit, lose 20 seconds or so,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna come with brand new tires, and we're gonna chase you to the end.
Mhm.
And we're gonna push the car as fast as we can, so we can overtake both Ferraris and like overtake you. And then like that's like a strategy that like Red Bull has learned ever since Mercedes did that to them, like in Hungary, I think,
Mm.
2020, 2019.
19, I think. I think it was 19.
Yeah, that Hamilton did that like 20 seconds behind, and then
Yeah, and then
brand
came
new
back.
tires, and then came back and then overtook Verstappen. And then like eventually, I believe last year Red Bull did that back to Mercedes, and they've been learning that
They've
like,
been
okay, this
learning
is
that
a viable
it
strategy.
can be effective. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was risky when Mercedes tried it, but I mean Hamilton is the guy to try that with. Like he went for it, and it statistically they thought it was gonna work, but you needed the driver to deliver, and
yeah.
Hamilton did it first. He was pretty great.
So they were gonna pull that play on Leclerc, and then Gasly's car broke down.
Yeah,
So
it fucking went on fire. It was
yeah,
I think it was I think he got pretty scared because he got like out of the car so quickly. He
yeah.
was
I
like
mean, you see a car on fire, you gotta get
yeah,
out.
yeah, and there was a fair amount of fire, so like you never know.
It
They're
was also
not
like the car stopped like right where Roman Grosjean was also on fire.
like had exploded, yeah. So yeah, no, unfortunate, but pure Gasly is like he's just there to try to get some points for
Yeah,
Alpha Tori. Not the most like whoa, you know.
yeah.
Mhm.
And then we had the safety car, which I mean, it's always scary when you have a safety car. Leclerc is at the like winning the race, and then you know that Ferrari is not like amazing for their strategy, and I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, they're gonna fuck up Leclerc's strategy somehow. It's clear that he needs to pit, but maybe.
Oh yeah, and with Ferrari, you never fucking know, man. Like Ferrari are just notorious for making like the worst fucking decisions, the most
Yeah,
baffling decisions. Like
it
over the
was.
past since Vettel, I've always been like, what are they doing? What are they doing?
Yeah,
They're messing up the strategy
they're
again.
just very notorious for since Leclerc joined Ferrari with Vettel, they were notorious for messing up Leclerc's strategy
Strategy
every
as
single
well.
time.
Yeah.
Like just like what is going on?
In fact,
Um,
I could think of like every time that Leclerc was ahead and he ended behind, like after like a race, I would say it was because Ferrari messed something up again. They like somehow they managed to fuck it up again.
yeah,
so,
every.
so you can never rely on
So I'm like, oh,
Ferrari
oh
having
man,
control. Yeah,
like okay, his safety car is out. Leclerc, where is he on track? Okay, you better fucking pit. Like,
just pit him, pit Leclerc, and then they pit him. I was like, oh yes, thank God. Okay, it's not gonna be a crazy race. I think it's gonna be
yeah.
fair.
And like it's gonna
Uh,
be fun between Verstappen and Leclerc, seeing them fight for the
mhm.
end. Like, yeah, I want Leclerc to win, but like if Verstappen wins, and I'm like, okay, Verstappen got the best thing.
Right.
Um,
And then I thought during the safety car, like I thought it could be close. It's a very long straight. So like it could
yeah,
be that like Verstappen gets it, but Verstappen fucked it up because like he went on the inside trying to mess with Leclerc for whatever
yeah,
reason.
like
He
he
just got
tries to bully the like
the guy
the
ahead.
driver into like go, let's go, like go
Yes.
faster. And then like Leclerc just when like
He
had the
like
better exit.
yeah, he had the better exit, so immediately he could just go and then Verstappen had to do
Verstappen
a very close curve or whatever. A turn.
turn, yeah,
Yeah. So Sainz almost immediately passed Verstappen because of that. Like
yeah.
he just followed him and almost passed him. So
Yeah, I was so
he
happy, and I'm like, that's what you get, Verstappen. That's what you.
exactly for just for fucking around for like trying to be an asshole.
Yeah,
Instead of like getting the right moments. So yeah, Leclerc after Leclerc retained it, I was like should be good. Just as long as he doesn't explode, he should be able to get this. Now it's whether Sainz could pass Verstappen.
yeah. Well, Verstappen did have an issue, and like apparently, like when
He
he
started having the
pitted,
issue. Yeah.
when he pitted and went to before
Mhm.
the safety car came out, he had an issue with his steering wheel.
Yeah.
Apparently it's like when they dropped the car from the pits, like there was a misalignment on the steering wheel, so
Oh,
like he had to like hold it like at an angle in
like
order
an
to be
angle the
like,
entire time.
yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
So yeah, so that's unfortunate. And then he also was pressuring Leclerc, and then obviously eventually the whole car just broke down.
Hmm.
It had nothing to do with the steering wheel thing, because then the
Because
same thing happened to
Checo,
Perez. Yeah.
yeah.
So I mean that's unfortunate. Kind of robbed us of like the fight between Verstappen and Leclerc for the
You
finish
could
line. But
you could say that. I think once Leclerc got out of that 1 second zone, because I think at that point Leclerc still had it. I mean, I think he was still going just as fast. Just he just happened to have a little bit more of an uncomfortable time. But once Leclerc got ahead of that, I don't really think that Verstappen ever was in range to fully like send it
yeah,
again. So I don't know. I don't know if we missed out on that much. It could be. But then but then it got a little dramatic. He when like he fully just like went to shit and like he had to like slow in the middle of a very fast race. Actually, that was kind of dangerous. I was like, ooh, yeesh. Like I wouldn't want to see like somebody like slowing down when I'm going that fast. But he was able to bring it in, and then
yeah,
uh, and then I thought it was a really good fight between Hamilton and Perez,
and Perez.
because then it was like it looks like Hamilton almost has it, but like he just didn't have enough in the straights.
Yeah,
Like
he just didn't like. I think Perez was defending like fine. Like he was probably deploying
right.
the battery right on the straights. It's like
Mhm.
Hamilton is never gonna catch me here.
Yes, yes, and I think Hamilton was trying, and he like followed close throughout the entire track, and then tried to pass
And
him.
like that's something beautiful that like you can follow all the way through. Like it looks like
Hmm.
with like the new cars, that like you can
Yeah,
really follow the car in front of you for a long time without like losing any time. And then
and through like S's and turns and stuff, which is
yeah,
usually not the case. Usually you lose a lot of that downforce, or in the previous years you did.
yeah.
Um,
So it does seem like
so
it does work. I don't know if it's because we're trying to hype it up. It's like, oh, it's working, look. uh,
mhm.
but no,
Yeah,
it does seem like, and it happened with like several on fight battles, like on track battles, that like everybody's just following each other so closely, yet they cannot just go into any turn and try to overtake. It's not how
yeah,
fortunately that's not how it works. But
yeah.
like if you can follow behind another car for that long, like it's really nice to see. I think the only issue that like most cars are having is that the brakes are overheating.
Oh yeah, which is the big sore thumb, I guess, for the race is that the McLarens just couldn't get it together, and I think it's because of the brakes. Because Lando and Ricardo just like they did not have it, and it looks like the struggle is real. Like it's gonna last for maybe over half the season, I would
Yeah,
say.
if not the
It,
whole season
it
before
looks
like
it looks
they,
pretty bad. Yeah.
yeah, it's sad to be.
I think what tells me the most is not so much the car itself, because sometimes the first few races, I think it's Lando's attitude. I feel like he just knows that this season is gonna be like a slow season. Like
Yeah,
I see it on his face. Like he's just like, yeah, I'm not gonna be competing for race wins this time. I'm just not, and I see it. Uh, so yeah, it's a little tragic because they were
yeah,
catching up.
if you're getting
Yeah,
lapped, it's
yeah,
like like there is 30 laps into the race and the McLarens are getting lapped, and he's
exactly. Yeah,
like, see you
but
guys next season.
But I guess it does open up the what we had before last year, which was the best of the rest. The top three teams, and then like a solid middle field. Like who's gonna come out on top?
Mhm.
And it's kind of cool to see Haas back again. The American team, uh, back in contention, because I always liked Haas. And it's gonna be fun to see who can get there. Alpha seems like they have a good car this year. Alpha Tori, Pierre Gasly's been driving pretty quick, so that looks fun. And then Alpine and the Aston Martins are also like in like a they have a solid package. So it looks like those are all pretty well matched together. It's gonna be fun to see who can bring it on more races. It's always fun to follow the
Yeah.
best of the rest. And I do like Magnussen. I do like Albon. I hope that Albon
Oh,
can
Albon did
show.
great.
Yeah, I hope he can score some points for Williams. It'd be pretty fun to see that, to see Williams trying to get back into the mix. Mhm.
Okay, one question before we move on to like next topics is just let's finish the race really quick. Is
Sure.
Um, Hamilton was fighting Perez. It came to down to the last lap of the race where I'm like, this is the last lap. Hamilton needs to do it on the
Yeah.
straight. And then
Mhm.
like when the straight went off, and then I saw Perez turning in, and I'm like, okay, never mind. And then he
Mhm.
spun out, and I'm like,
Yep.
oh, he fucking spun.
Yeah.
It's like this is all Hamilton, yes. And then like we were here like yelling, it's like, oh, Hamilton is like calling the Formula One gods or something. And then I'm like, why isn't Perez moving? And I'm like, oh, his
uh,
engine also shut down,
yeah.
mid corner.
Mhm.
Um,
Like
so
they didn't show the angle like going forward, but they showed it backwards, and it just immediately looked like he was doing fine, and then boom, like the
yeah,
car
the
just
engine
totally
cut
lost
off.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my
So
question is like, do you think Lewis would have passed Perez if
I don't know.
that wouldn't have happened?
He had one more chance, and I think on that last chance, because the thing is, you don't want to pass in the first straight because then it happens what Leclerc did, that you just get passed again. So you want to follow the car behind, be behind the second detection zone, or the second
Yeah.
detection zone, and then on the second DRS go ahead and pass. That's what you want to do. So maybe that's what Hamilton was attempting to do at the end, like the last shot. Uh, but then we didn't get to that point. So it's kind of hard to say. I'll say it's like a 50-50. I say like maybe like a little bit towards he wouldn't have done it. Like I don't know if
Yeah,
he
I
had it.
don't think he had it. I
Yes.
know.
Uh,
Unfortunate.
but maybe he did. So it would have been funny if he had it, but in reality, he might have been a little bit slower, and probably Perez still had some battery left to use.
Okay. Do you think Verstappen would have been able to win if his car wouldn't have break like broken
Nah,
down?
nah, I'm not gonna. No, I'm not gonna give him that. No, he just wasn't going faster than Leclerc in a everything else equals. No, Leclerc was just driving really well, unless pressure from Leclerc would have made some sort of mistake. But to me, he feels like he came back pretty refreshed from the break. A lot of energy. He looks in like the right attitude, the right mindset. So no, I don't think he was feeling the pressure. He was driving. He was driving good. He was making good decisions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna talk about some criticisms of the broadcast and things that I saw that had nothing to do with like the performance of the drivers or
Mm.
anything like that, but just things that I
Mhm.
didn't like. Um, and that was the graphics.
Well, I did notice that they removed some of the graphics from last year, which I think you hated. I think you hated a lot of
Oh yeah, a lot of
of
the graphics from last year, like, oh, if this car pits, the pit like percentage
the
chance is like,
right the
I
percentage.
hated that. I like, don't
Oh,
tell me what's gonna happen on track. Like I want to see it. Let
the
it be
one
a
the one that I
surprise.
hated just as much, I think we both agree was terrible, was the one with the tires
Oh,
that
with the
had like
tires, yeah,
four tires, and it was like it was red or green, and then it had like percentages, and you're like,
yeah.
what
I'm
in the
like,
flickety fuck is that, man?
yeah,
Like
it's like
uh,
it's green, but it's 10%, and I'm like, oh, so like the tire is 100% like at its best, and 10% it means that it's only 10% left, but it's green.
or
So
is that the
uh,
temperature? Like
now like, I know that they're now like talking like saying it a lot, and they try to say like, oh, he's only used 10% of his
10%,
tires, but
maybe.
it looks great. But like 10% out of 100, I'm assuming that 100 is the best, you know.
Right. You
So
think that
it
too,
wasn't
yes.
very intuitive, and then like when
And
it
then
gets it
and then
goes very red, like
it will be like very red, and it'd be like 50%. So you're like, okay, what? Like, how is it that red if it's only 50%? like yeah, I don't know. It never made a lot of sense. So I was okay getting rid of that. They did have like, I guess I know what you're saying. I think they did have a little bit of color faults that like it looked like multiple people were on purple laps and stuff.
and that was especially like on qualifying.
Mhm.
On qualifying, you had everybody went purple on sector one.
Yeah,
I think there was a
yeah.
point that
Yeah.
somebody went 9 tenths slower, like it showed like plus zero point 0.9, and then
0.9.
it said purple sector. And I'm like, hello, what? How are you going? How do you have a purple sector, but you're 9 tenths lower? What is going
Yeah,
on?
yeah,
It was just very confusing.
yeah. It was hard to know like what was happening. I would agree. Mhm.
Yeah, obviously, like purple means that's the fastest, green is your personal fastest, and yellow is you're going slower.
Yeah.
and like I feel like the graphics that they've had for this whole all of these years, they've been pretty good. I don't know why they're
Mhm.
changing it now. The purple is like a little hint. It's like a hint of purple.
Oh yeah, and it's also like
It's
fucking
like a
paper
little.
thin. Like what the fuck? Like like show the goddamn thing. It's an easy. It's a good way to tell what's happening. You know, like why don't make
they
it. I'm like trying to be like the fucking a, but but yeah, no, it's I think they should fix that. It's not. It doesn't even look that like aesthetically pleasing. It's just like I want to know like if it's a purple or not. It's important for me to know as a viewer, like to know who's going ahead. So yeah, I think they will fix that. I hope they fix
I
that at
hope they
least.
fix it. I think they're, I don't know, they're going for this new look. From what I saw, the people talking about is like a more Americanized look, which
All
I don't
right.
agree with.
Yeah, I don't
I
know
don't
about it.
know. When I watch football, like American football, it doesn't seem like paper thin. That I can't tell what's going on. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
I don't know why
uh,
they're doing it like that. It feels very.
yeah.
I don't know. They have so much space and they're using so little of it.
Mhm.
I don't know why they're doing that. And also, when they show the team radios, and it's like full black, and then they show Verstappen talking, and it's like dark blue, and I'm like, what the fuck did Verstappen just say? I don't know what he said. Like, you cannot put like a black thing and then like a dark blue font.
Mhm.
Like, just
Oh,
give me the,
on the thing, yeah. Just put it
yeah,
white. Yeah, who
just put it
cares?
white for any driver. Just, I know it's Verstappen. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I see. I see. I think hopefully those are things that they start fixing throughout
yeah,
the season.
those are
I'm not
little
like
things.
concerned
The,
about it.
yeah,
Mhm.
these are things that are have nothing to do with the racing or like the performance or like if the race was good or bad. It's just
Yeah.
like little things that, like, if it's the first race of the season and then you're bringing all these new graphics, there were like 5 laps or so where I didn't have the timings. Like, I'm like for 5 laps, 6 laps in the middle of the race, and I'm like, what am I watching? Who's racing who? And I see people like passing each other, and I'm like, that's amazing. What position did they get? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know what's going
Yes.
on.
Yes. It took a long time to put like who like the timings of each driver, how much they were behind on other people. Cause yeah.
You know, and I'm like, is this, am I watching like, I don't know, is this preseason testing? What is going on? I don't know what position they're fighting for.
Mhm.
Also, like the graphics on the side is very confusing. Now you have numbers, like,
Like
and then the numbers also make no sense. Like, Leclerc is number one, and then it shows number 16 is Leclerc on first
mm,
place, and then the number 16 is white. So I'm like,
oh,
wait, how does that?
that is confusing. It should be red. I
Yeah, but no, like
but it's not. Yeah.
it's not. It's white,
Yeah.
and that's why, like, people are saying like, oh, that's Americanized, because if you watch NASCAR, you
Ah.
always see like car 42 is whatever, car whatever is here. But what other people have said is like, that doesn't fucking work in Formula One. Like, when I see a car, the number is this big. I'm not looking for, like, if I watch NASCAR and it says car 50, there's a 50 in the fucking bag, there's a 50 in the hood, there's a 50 everywhere. In Formula One, like, you don't see the number except for Lewis Hamilton this year that decided to go neon green.
If anything, the way that you tell the drivers apart is like while they're on the track is with the helmets.
Yes.
So really the number is good. It's a good sort of, it's also a good way to check, like double check. But yeah, like being on the side, it's confusing because you're like trying to figure out who's who really quickly, especially if the
Mhm.
numbers are right next to each other. So
Yeah, and then eventually,
yeah.
like, they changed the other graphic that they have aside from the numbers is like the team logos. That
Mhm.
also, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, I'm
Mm.
like, now I have to figure out which logo belongs to who. Now I know because I'm a Formula One like fan, but like, I'm just thinking like the people that come in brand new and they
They
see a
don't know.
fucking circle there, and I'm like, who's fucking? Oh, that's Alfa Romeo. How the fuck are you supposed to know who that is? It's like,
Yeah, no. I mean,
so
they might as well just combine those two and put the colors with the numbers and put them
I
on the other
I
side.
was, I'm a very big fan of how the numbers were like for the past like 10 years.
Yeah,
Why did you
yeah,
have to change them? Just because it's a new era? It's like, No, just it's not
Yeah.
broken. You have a signature look.
Yeah.
Just keep it as is.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I mean, I don't know. I didn't notice a lot of these things, but I can see why they bother you.
Yeah,
Like,
not
I was like, fine, whatever with it. But they do distract. They do distract a little bit, and I think that can be bothersome.
yeah. So with that, the other next point of criticism is the commentary by no, I think it's
Crafty.
Crofty and Martin Brundle.
Hmm.
Crofty especially pisses me off. He has a great voice, very iconic voice, but
I love his,
some of
yeah.
some of his commentary sometimes is just
It's
so
so silly.
dumb. It's
It's so, yeah.
like there was the whole time in previous years where like Daniel Ricardo made the bet with the
The
Renault team principal, and like
Abdul or
we're
something.
yeah Cyril Abitbull I think,
Abid Bull, yeah.
and then like that they made like if Daniel Ricardo gets a podium, Cyril has to get a tattoo, and then in the middle of the race, it's like I'm gonna Google some tattoo shops. Oh, there's
Uh,
one nearby here, and I'm like, bro, it's 10 minutes, and we keep talking about tattoos.
yes. And
It's like
it's
I
like,
don't.
oh, I bet this guy is sweating on the box looking at Ricardo doing this. And it's like, okay, like this is, it's not that funny. Like, or like it's kind of like a funny thing that is happening on the side, but it's not what it's not about the
Yeah,
racing. You
yeah,
know,
I
like,
want to watch the race. Can you? And then he's like, look, I just Google or like some tattoo shop, and I'm like, this guy is fucking going on Google
uh,
Maps
and
right now.
I think they told I think people complain because like 2 or 3 races after that,
Yeah,
after he
he
kept
stopped
doing it,
doing it. Yeah.
they were like, we cannot talk about the TATTO.
Oh
Or they're
yeah.
like, I was like, yeah, somebody probably told you to shut the fuck up about it because it's so annoying.
Yeah, and I have
So
like the same complaints like for this race. He had the issue of like, for example, the Chinese driver. So the Chinese driver, like I thought his name was Wan Yu, that's his last name.
yeah,
And that because when I was like, oh, his name is Wan Yu Zhou, and I'm like, oh, that's his name,
I
and that's
thought so
how he
too.
was presented for the longest time. But
Hmm.
he came out saying that he prefers to be called Zhou Wan Yu,
Joe 1 year. Hmm.
like Zhou. I don't know how to
I
pronounce that
I
very well.
I pronounce it kind of with a J, like like a Joe,
And, like,
but I don't know.
Like it's like an Argentinian
It's a show,
Joe Wan
show.
Yu. I don't
I don't
know.
know. I think we're
I don't wanna mispronounce it too
well.
much, but
I think we're immigrants. I think we get a pass on this.
yeah, I'm trying my best to be like respectful because I know how it feels when like they mispronounce your name.
You try it.
And
Why don't you,
then
Joe?
he's so, but like during the whole race, he's like Wan Yu Joe, and then the next one Joe Wan Yu, and then Wan Yu Joe, and I'm like, dude, like just learn it. Like
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
it's a
I
little
forgive
thing.
him. I forgive him for that. I'm not
But
hung
and
up
the
about
one
it.
that I cannot forgive him for is every time the Ferrari engineer goes on the radio and
Oh, he's making fun of
he's
Italians.
making fun of the Italian accent.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know, it tilted me every time, and I'm like, like
Hmm.
I know that he has an accent. We have accents, and therefore it strikes me. I'm like, bro, like just
Like, you
shut up.
quit it. Yeah, like that's
Yeah,
like middle school shit. Like, why even mention it? I mean, it's just, yeah, you're just gonna piss people off. Like, the guy, yes, he's Italian. We get it. Like that. Like, I don't know.
yeah, and
There's
it's
nothing
gonna
really funny
go
about it.
throughout the whole season. Can we not fucking make fun of the
Of the
guy that has an accent
Yeah.
every single race? I want to be so pissed every time it happens. It's just like, just bro, just shut up.
I actually kind of like the Ferrari mechanics too. They have like a very like signature way of speaking. It's kind of fun. Like, I'm never like making fun of him. I think it's kind of interesting. So like, yeah, why are you trying to like make fun of it? You know. So
Yeah, those are just like my criticisms like
mhm.
I had on the race. I
I do
wanted to
get that.
get them out there, just because it rubs me the wrong way. And like I like the guy's commentary. He has a really good iconic voice for Formula
Yeah, like
One.
in intense moments, it's very good. Like, I really
Yeah,
like it.
like
Mhm.
I feel the excitement. I'm like, this is really good when like it comes to that. And then it's like
But then he talks about
just
stupid stuff.
yeah, no, like just keep it to the racing. We don't, and also like I think last year in Spa is like, do you think that like it's raining and then it's like, oh, maybe we can just pack up and then we'll race tomorrow on Monday. And I'm
Oh
like, bro,
yeah,
shut up. Like,
that's
stop.
never gonna happen.
It's
Like, you
like
know
just
that's never gonna happen too.
like your job is not to fucking like
Like
do
try,
hypotheticals. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
try to make up like scenarios or something like that.
Yeah, don't make up storylines. Just narrate the current ones.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
that's what I
Uh,
want from like you as a commentator. I don't
mhm.
want like your opinion. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
Or like
no.
when you tell me your opinion, say it in like, hey, I know I'm supposed to keep it neutral, but my opinion is this. Like,
Mhm.
just let me know. But like sometimes I think he just throws in his like opinion as a fact. And it just bothers me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not too bothered by it. I'm like, it's kind of annoying, but whatever. Like, some he just does it on the off time, so it usually doesn't bother me. But no.
Cool. So last thing we're just gonna talk about is just all the teams overall. So we're just gonna go fast. Ferrari, how do you
Good,
think they did?
good, pretty good. I don't know if they have the package for the entire year that they're being signature racing on Bahrain. Like they're always pretty good. They always show up on Bahrain. It's gonna be interesting to see them in other places. It's
And
not for sure that the best.
Sainz versus Leclerc, opinions.
Good duel. I think I don't know. Maybe Leclerc just woke up on the good side of the season, and like he's like foot forward. But Science is fast. Science can get in there.
Sainz
So
is really upset. You saw him the whole weekend.
yes, he was not happy with his performance. So I think there's a lot more from Science to come.
Yeah, I
Uh,
thought he had a great performance, even though like he finished second. Like, yeah, he wasn't faster than Leclerc,
mhm,
but he had
mhm,
a good performance. I think at the beginning of the weekend he was like almost 7 tenths or 8 tenths behind Leclerc, but
yeah.
eventually when it came to the quali, he lost it by like a tenth.
Mhm,
So like he came back from a big deficit, and then fortunately, yeah, he got second place,
mhm.
and he's not happy with that. Like
Yeah,
he's
no.
just, I think he wants to show like I really want to beat this guy.
But I
And
think I think that's the sort of this the thing I like about Leclerc, that he's just very naturally talented. Like you put him in anything, any car, any type of different season, and he will make the best out of the fucking car like immediately. Like it just
yes,
it's intuitive to him to
there's just
drive
drivers that
fast.
do that. Yeah.
Yes, like and even when he was streaming back in the day, I was just the way he places his car, like nobody tells him, but like he places it like in the right way to turn just correctly. And it's very impressive. It's very impressive the way that I just see him like just take curves and understand the track. Where I don't see that from a lot of other drivers.
Yeah.
Or even
Or
from
like a
like
lot of other drivers have to
streamers and
make a
things.
lot of effort to do
Mhm.
that.
Exactly.
For some other drivers, it's just like natural.
Yes, and so I think that's good. That's good with him. I think Science can get to that level, but he does need to work on understanding the car to be able to drive it at the limit
Yeah.
that he wants.
He's never been like that guy that is just supernaturally talented. He's
Mhm.
just like a good, solid
Yeah.
driver,
Yes.
consistent. But
Very
like
consistent.
he never has like moments of like brightness or like anything like that. I think we've said that a couple of times.
Yeah, he's just very consistently good. So like never too
Yeah.
highs, never too lows. Just very good all throughout.
Mhm. Okay,
Mhm.
next team, Red Bull. How do you see them?
Good,
Opinions.
good. Kind of scary, really. I feel like if they handle well the rest of the season, they could end up winning at least the drivers' championship. I think Ferrari is still a good contender for the uh, what is it called?
Constructors?
The constructors, yes. But I think Verstappen again has, at least as of right now, still a shot for the championship.
And Verstappen versus Perez.
I mean, what do you mean? It's just Verstappen, and then Perez is like 10 seconds behind. But and that's nothing against Perez. It's just the nature of the Red Bull car.
Okay, now Mercedes.
Mercedes.
Opinions.
You know what? I don't know. As we were starting, I thought that George was honestly gonna be faster than Hamilton. I
I
thought that
thought from the get go, George was going to beat Hamilton.
because I thought he was just younger. He has fresher reflexes, and like Hamilton, there's been times where Bottas, they both were on their best days, and Bottas kind of like outdrove him a little bit. But no, Hamilton seems like he's sharp. He's good. Like
Hamilton is still impressive. I was actually
he,
surprised like in the quali. He was like a second behind or like a second and a half behind
Yeah,
pole, and then in the last lap he went for it, and then he came to 5/10. So
yeah,
he went a second faster in like
yeah,
one lap trying. Now like this guy still got it.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, he
He,
didn't. He still got fifth, but in like his last attempt, he like improved like almost by a whole second in
yep.
a lap, and you're like, okay, this guy's going for it.
Yeah, so I still believe he may be in contention. Having the first podium like this is a good thing for sure. Like those points really count at the end,
Mhm.
as we saw from last season. So yeah,
And then George, how do you see him throughout the season?
good. I think he was messing around or like trying to figure out the car on qualifying, and I think he said that he changed something for Q3, but it didn't work out, so he ended up ninth. I can see
He
that. I can
just
see that.
he looked up.
Yeah.
He looked up in his last attempt on turn one. He just
Mm,
looked up. He's like, "Oh, I was attempting. You
I
were
was attempting
attempting to
something.
lock up."
Yeah.
What
Um,
if I look up into turn one? Is it faster?
um, yeah, no, so I think there's more to come. I feel like I wanted a more of a feeling of like he's gonna come and like just wreck, but he's not doing that. He's just kind of
Yeah, he's not doing that.
like
Yeah,
slowly getting used to it, which I guess that maybe it was at high expectations, but we'll
yeah.
see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Okay, now we're going to Haas.
As good. I'm Magnussen. I love the guy. Um, I'm hoping to see more actual racing between him and like the middle field and
Mhm.
see who really comes on top. So yeah, good. He's always
The
been a good
Magnussen and
source.
Schumacher.
I think it's kind of embarrassing. No,
You think Schumacher?
I feel like, well, no, I think that's kind of shameful to say because I just don't think Mick is as fast. He's fast, but not like super fast.
Yeah, I
And
think Mick is like a young Carlos Sainz, like a
yeah.
solid driver. He's
Mhm.
not gonna have very many highs or very many lows. He's definitely not his dad.
Yeah, which
Um,
is which is which is a bummer. I think if he had had that coaching more throughout his life, he would have been a little bit better.
mhm.
But he's still very solid, very good. But
Yeah,
he's just Magnussen is just very talented. My like,
yeah, but for
and he
example,
understands the
you
car.
you get like, and this is a good contrast for like people that like, oh, he can improve, and I'm like, yes, he can improve, but like, for example, the story with like all of the drivers that are good is that like from the moment they came into Formula One, they were good, like they were owning the whole way through. Like
Yes,
Hamilton, very clear since like this is
they won.
owning, they won, like just
Yeah,
owning every single
Verstappen
time.
too.
Verstappen, like when he first got into a Formula One car, you're like, okay, this guy's really fast.
Yeah,
Leclerc on Alfa Romeo made Ericsson look like
yeah,
he
like
pretty much got Ericsson out of Formula One.
I mean, yeah, I kind of, he kind of ended his career, but he was getting to Q3 with that Alfa Romeo, which at that time was the second slowest car, only worse by the Williams.
Yeah,
And
so
he was doing
like
that at the end of the season consistently. It was
yeah,
insane. Yeah.
yeah, to the point that I thought like, wow, Alfa Romeo is a good team. It's like, no, Leclerc is a really good driver.
No, Leclerc is just fucking fast. Yeah.
Yeah, so you had that with Leclerc, you had that with Hamilton,
He
Verstappen.
he was
Go
he
ahead.
was pulling like fast, like the fastest, or like he was getting to the next qualifying round on the rain, like doing laps on the rain, like he did that in Brazil.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah,
And he was like, wait, he made it? How the fuck he tried an extra lap on the rain and he made it? When everybody did a lap on the dry, it was kind of like, how the fuck did he do that? Like that's unbelievable. But
yeah. You had
yeah,
Michael Schumacher since like he first came into Formula One, and he debuted like back in the '90s. As soon as like he finished his first race, he's like, okay, we're gonna hire you for a championship winning team. Like
yeah, exactly.
um Montoya, obviously, because we're Colombians. Like Montoya
Mhm.
won everything before coming into Formula One,
Yeah,
and then like on his third race in the year, like he's like passing Schumacher, and
yeah,
and like going for his first win. If it wasn't for Verstappen's dad taking him out of the race,
yeah,
uh,
of
so
course.
like you just have drivers that like from the very beginning they're just good, like all the way
Mhm.
throughout,
Yeah.
and then I don't think there's a story. Maybe like there's very few here and there that the driver is just solid, and then he just like
improves.
improves over time. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that happens, but usually those drivers don't win the championship. I think the exceptions could be like Nico Rosberg or something like that.
Yeah, which
Um,
give
like,
and take. I have mixed opinions on the guy.
yeah. So like, I'm sorry to say, but like that's why I feel like Carlos Sainz may not win a championship unless he gets
Mhm.
lucky, like really lucky. Like when Nico Rosberg won the championship, he got really lucky because Hamilton suffered a lot of reliability issues that year. So yes, it could happen.
Yeah.
But then like it's like with Mick, it's like you can say like, oh, the guy is a really nice guy, he's gonna improve, but I'm like, but he's probably never gonna win a championship. Like you can only improve so
Mhm.
much, and usually those type of drivers are not the ones that are super successful in Formula One. And you're
Right.
like, oh, but he's young, and I'm like, well, the comparison is like these other people are also young and they
Yeah,
own,
and they
and
own.
then you have Magnussen who hasn't been in Formula One forever, and then he comes back and owns
Announce.
Schumacher.
Yeah, again, like
Uh,
immediately you can see how fast the car can actually go, if you had a better driver. So but it's still the beginning of the season. It's something to keep watching.
Yeah, so that's kind of my impression between them. So next team, we took a long time on hats.
uh there's a lot to discuss. Hopefully next episodes will be a little bit shorter, but there's a lot to catch up on at the beginning of the
Yeah.
season. So
So Alfa Romeo,
good. Bottas performing well, looking good. And then Joe, uh,
show just
Wang Yu, doing good. They're doing good. It's really good to get points at the beginning.
yeah.
I always liked him in Formula Two. Ever since I think it was 2 years ago when he first got a pole position, I started looking at him. I was like, I like him. And whenever he wasn't performing as well, it's because the car was failing or like somebody was crashing into him.
Yeah,
So I
he's
was like,
not like incredible or anything like that.
yeah,
He's good,
it's good. It's
but
good. Good
I feel like
potential.
he looks like such a nice guy. And
Mhm.
then I think even in the race, I saw him like a little bit like, I don't know if he was nervous, like he was just trying to keep it together, even when trying to battle other drivers. And I'm like, he's like just following, and
Yeah.
I feel like I don't want to crash. I don't know. I felt like a little bit like a new guy in Formula
Yeah,
One, and he's just trying to
innocent,
keep it together.
innocent,
Yeah.
trying his best. Yeah,
Yes.
and he's doing good. He's doing good. He got a point, which is really good. And I think he was going almost as fast as Bottas, which is also a good sign.
Yeah. The Alpine
What's that? Fernando Alonso and
and
Ocon. I
Ocon.
I am not paying. I don't know. I see. For some reason, Alpine and Aston Martin, which I guess we can talk together. I'm just not like they're not doing anything that makes me excited. It's
Yeah.
like Fernando's back again, Ocon is back again, and Ocon is not great.
Ocon
Fernando's
is,
go.
to me, Ocon is the most boring driver in the track.
Yes,
He's not the worst. He's
he's
just the
not
most
he's good.
boring.
He's
Yeah.
fine. But then Fernando's there trying to get some points, and that's the story every time. He's just trying to get some points. And then same thing with Vettel and Stroll. And Stroll is like
Yeah.
he
Fernando kind of disappointing also throughout the race. Like he didn't really
yeah.
do anything, which is unfortunate. I think Alonso could win a championship in a good car because
Yeah.
he's still really good. He just doesn't
Well,
have the car.
I don't know if win a championship, but he could win races and he could still go
Oh
fast.
yes.
Yeah.
Like he could
Uh,
still fight for a championship. I don't know if he can win it, but he could
I
fight
don't
for it.
I don't think Vettel can win again unless
Oh
something
no,
happens.
Vettel. No. Well, we
Yeah.
haven't seen him race. He didn't race
Right,
this
right,
week.
right. That's true. That's true. And then Stroll just
Wait,
looks like he.
wait. Ocon and then you're talking Aston Martin together.
Yeah, yeah. And then
Well, we had Hulkenberg.
well, Hulkenberg did fine. It seemed like this time it wasn't as exciting as previous times when he came back and just like owned, but he did fine. And then Stroll
He
just
did
looks
better
like
the Stroll on the quali.
yeah, he did. And then that's what I was gonna say. I mean, Stroll always has a struggle with the qualies, but he
Yes.
just looks like he's giving up. I don't know. Like the guy just doesn't even look in a good mood when he's driving. Like he's
Well,
known getting
Stroll
faster.
did get ahead of Hulkenberg in the race.
Yeah, he did.
But I think Stroll has always had that. He has a good race pace, but his qualifying is just
Mhm.
always disastrous.
Very yeah, very disappointing. And I at the end of the day, I just don't know what like he's trying to compete for. Like I thought, like I think he thought that now that he's that owned the team, like they were gonna really make the investments to make the car go faster, but that's not happening. So it's kind of like He's not getting carried to
they're
victories or
still in the back.
anything.
Yeah, they're not fighting for points or anything. They're still like on the back foot, which is
Yeah,
unfortunate for Vettel. Because like the only reason I care about Aston Martin doing well is because I want Vettel to do well.
yeah, because they have
But
a pretty car. They have a
yeah, their car is actually really nice looking.
Mhm.
Alpha Tauri.
Good. Again, not doing a lot of exciting things, but I like Gasly and or like I think he's very fast. So so
And
yeah, no.
Yuki.
Yuki is fine too. I'm not a big fan of Yuki, but they get points here and there, and that's good.
Yeah.
You know, it keep I think they're
I think
good
Gasly is
addition to
really
the
good,
yeah,
but
and he's
I
gonna
think
be fighting for
he's been
points.
getting better, yeah. And but we'll
It feels
see.
like in the races where Gasly is just the best of the rest, he's like unbeatable as the best of the rest. Like he's like if he starts like the testing and everything correctly, then when he gets to the race, he just like he's always seventh, you know, like always consistently. But if he doesn't get there, like then he's just on the back of field all the time. So you know that's, but I think that's just the nature of the alphas. So
Okay, Williams.
good. I feel good about them. You know, they're coming back.
Do,
They're
do you
trying
also
the
feel
best.
like Latifi just get out of Formula One?
Not yet. I mean,
Latifi, for me, Latifi needs is the one like last year, and I'm like Giovanazzi needs to get out, and
yeah,
then
yeah. Like he's not disastrous. He's not like gross jeans or John or what was the other, or Maldonado, that he's like crashing all over the place. But he's also not going very quick. He's
he's
not doing a
just
lot.
slow. Like you have George Russell beating him every single time,
Mhm.
and then Albon comes in, who also
And
hasn't been in Formula One in forever.
yeah,
Well, in forever, in like a year,
in
and
like a year. Yeah.
then he comes back, and then like, oh, I beat Latifi.
Yeah. It's just I just okay. Just I'm just faster. No, no real
It was also
competition.
like a second faster. It's like,
Mhm.
dude, the guy is in the same car and he's a second faster than you. So like, what are
Yeah.
you doing?
Which I think
So
maybe the new regulations are playing to Albon's favor. You know, he had a year to rest, and now he's coming back to drive a whole new car with a whole new system. So he was probably prepared for something new. Whereas Habit is probably playing like a trick on the older
on the other
drivers.
drivers, yeah.
All
Okay.
right, hold on, give me a second. I gotta get some water because my throat is running out. One
Okay.
sec.
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
All right. And the last team, McLaren.
Very sad. You know, you really wanted to see them. I think it would be nicer in an ideal world to see like those four teams competing: Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, and the McLarens. Just because it's more variety, more cool, like to see more fights and stuff like that. But you know, I mean, it happens. You know, brake issues. They'll be back. I don't think. I'm hoping that it's not so bad that they can fix it the entire season. I'm hoping that they can just take a few races and then get back into a good pace.
Okay. And what was I gonna say? Norris versus Ricardo.
Good. Good. I mean, I feel like Ricardo. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say he's losing because I don't think he is, but
I think he lost.
I don't think he lost it. I just think that Norris is faster. I mean, I always thought Ricardo was faster and he was really good on the Red Bull. Like he understood that car really well, I think.
Mhm.
I think on the McLarens, he's not quite understanding it as well. And Lando is just gets the car. So I don't know. Maybe there is occasions in which Ricardo goes faster, but yeah, just Lando just looks naturally faster, and that's why I say that that he like Lando is also one of those other drivers that also came in and they're starting owning also. So
Okay.
mhm.
The last thing is just when it comes to Abu Dhabi last year and the whole safety car, we see that this time the safety car procedure was fine, right? Like all the cars unlap themselves, which I think is part of the new rules. Um, so Jose, which is our other
Our
brother,
other brother, yeah.
yeah, was saying that like, oh, they didn't get to catch back up to the back of the pack before they restarted the
Oh
race.
yeah, that was fucking weird. Mhm.
They don't have to. That's not part of the rules. It's like they unlap themselves, and then
Mhm.
the safety car comes in, um, and they don't get to like
Uh,
catch up to the pack and race for
uh,
position.
I
They
don't know
race
if I
amongst
like that.
themselves, but yeah.
I don't know if I like that. That could be very decisive in some races where, like, for example, the top six are ahead or the top, I don't know, eight, and then the last positions get like no points, or they can't fight for anything substantial. That's not that good. So I wanted to see. It's also cool to see all the cars all back together in the race. Everybody competing. So
Yeah, I think like the purpose is that they want to get the race like back on their green flag condition as soon as possible. So like you don't have like 5 or 10 laps just on their yellow flag, like.
yeah.
So it's like just unlap yourselves, all of them, and then like the safety cars coming in. And
Mhm.
it's kind of like you were lapped anyway, so it's not like
Mhm.
just get out of here. Just
Yeah,
let the real racers race.
I kind of agree. So yeah,
So,
yeah. No,
but
I
yeah,
don't,
they don't get to catch up.
any
That's it. That's
any
all I had.
any good predictions, or any what do you want to see for this next race in Saudi
I know what I don't
Arabia?
want to see. I don't want to see a pileup crash. Uh,
Oof, yeah, I forgot, but this track is really fast. It's always
it,
unnerving to kind of see because they go
it's really
so fucking
fast.
fast.
It's really dangerous. Also, like the very
Yeah.
beginning of it is just that you don't see like around the corners,
Mhm.
like what's on the other side, and you go
Yeah,
really
and
fast.
you're coming in
So
quick. Yeah,
yeah,
like full throttle.
I don't want to see a pileup crash. I feel like it could happen at the beginning of the race, or if there's a safety car, that it could happen on safety car restarts.
Yeah,
So that's my main concern. Like I know that it's exciting when cars crash, but
but it's
but
also
not in this
like,
sport.
yeah, no, like somebody could like die or something. Like in the wrong occasion, it could be pretty dangerous. So yeah, it's always unnerving, but it's a good racing track though. Like there's good racing, there's good passing opportunities, and it's very unique layout. So I do like seeing it. I did have fun last time. So yeah, no,
And
I'm
what are
pretty.
your predictions for it?
I don't know. I mean, it's gonna Mr. Obvious, but I'm like, it's gonna be between the Ferraris and the Red Bulls, and I haven't decided who's gonna go faster. But I think the Red Bulls, if the Ferraris can get ahead, then they can stay ahead. If they can't, then the Red Bulls are just gonna own. And it looked like the straights for the Red Bulls are a little bit better this time
Yeah, it does
around.
look like, yeah.
So I'm thinking that the Red Bulls have an edge. At least Verstappen. I don't know about
Verstappen,
Perez.
yeah.
Yes, I think we can see a Leclerc number two on this one and Verstappen number one.
And number three.
Number three, I don't know. Perez probably. Maybe Sainz if he's back, or if he has good form. As far as the middle of the pack, I think I think the Alpha Tauri are pretty good on the straights too. So I expect to see probably Gasly somewhere in there. And hopefully, but the McLarens are never all that good in the straights, so they probably won't be there. The Mercedes are just gonna be fifth and sixth. That's what I think. So
Fifth and sixth. Do you think George Russell is gonna beat Hamilton?
no, no, not on this one, because I think Hamilton he just dominated this one last year, so he knows the track really well.
Did he?
Um,
No, I mean Verstappen dominated last year on this track.
didn't
Like he
didn't
was he I
Hamilton
mean,
won the race though?
well, yeah, but that's because fucking Verstappen brake tested him and the whole thing
Mhm.
happened. And then like you also had Verstappen who was gonna go into like a mighty lap for pole position and binned it.
Oh yeah, he fucking been it. But I think Hamilton is very good at driving on the edge very very naturally, kind of like in Singapore. So I still give it to Hamilton. I think he's gonna come out ahead, but you may disagree. Yeah, I think. What do you think?
I think that Hamilton should be better than Russell in this one. Like
Okay.
I mean, I thought that Russell was gonna beat Hamilton, like or be closer to Hamilton from the very beginning,
Mhm.
and it doesn't seem like that.
Yeah.
So until I see like the first sign of Russell kind of fighting it against Hamilton, I'm still gonna
They're
lean
still
towards
gonna believe in
Hamilton.
Hamilton. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no inclination that it seems like Russell just hasn't figured out the car yet.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
unless you final thoughts.
No, final thoughts. Very excited. It looks like it's gonna be like a fun season. Hopefully a season between that's gonna be between like three different teams. I hope the Mercedes come back and
Yeah,
they try to do good things. So yeah, I'm excited. Having three contenders instead of two is a lot better because Verstappen can get away with as much shit because then he loses a lot of by a third guy. So
yes,
I think that's a good thing in general. So I'm hoping that that's the case. I'm hoping that Red Bull don't dominate the entire thing. And I think we could be seeing Leclerc first championship, maybe.
I want to. I want to, but I want to, but
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
thinking that
saying,
Verstappen so far is probably gonna. Well, I think it's between Verstappen and Leclerc.
mhm.
Maybe Hamilton and Mercedes get it together.
I'm just saying optimistic, and I'm not saying much because I think Leclerc is in a good state, but as pressure mounts or as
Yeah,
things don't go his way, he could get a
yeah.
little tilted. So,
Leclerc gets tilted notoriously every time he's ahead, or when he
mhm.
has to perform, he just gets tilted. In Monaco last year, I think
Yeah,
he
yeah,
he fucking bended when. Well,
in
he
a,
did. He still got pole, but
yeah, in
then
Azerbaijan that one year when he was like,
yeah,
"I am stupid, I am stupid."
yeah, they had
Yeah,
the fastest car, and then he fucking went into the castle.
yeah,
Like he's always like, I don't know, for some reason, like when he has to perform and or he knows that he has the card and people want him to win, he just like
yeah. But he
messes up.
looks again this year. He looks very natural, very fresh, very calm. So, if he remains that way for most of the year, and if it's between three people where like they're all kind of winning and losing or winning and staying in the top,
Yeah,
I think he could bring it home. Yeah.
nice. All right,
Mhm.
that's it.
All right. Good podcast. I guess we'll see you back next week after the Saudi Arabian Grand
Yeah,
Prix. Very
yes, sir.
excited. And then Australia. Australia's fun. We'll talk about it then.
Nice. We'll see you. Let me stop recording.